Hello everyone, this is Kedmid with you. Today I'll show you how I sculpted a Niva out of modeling clay, and after that I'll take it apart. But before that, I recommend subscribing to a beginner's channel. There you'll find do-it-yourself projects on various topics, such as a web shooter, Batarang, Mjolnir, Thor, Captain America's shield, and much more. Let's support the beginner do-it-yourself creator. The link to his channel is in the description. This is how this Niva looks right now. As you can see, it's made entirely out of modeling clay, and I sculpted it from very hard non-sulfurated plastline clay as well as hard sculpting clay. As you can see, I covered the window areas so I wouldn't paint the interior, and I'll be painting it with spray paint from a can. First, I'll apply a layer of primer so that the main paint goes on better and the shade comes out right, and then I'll paint it green. It's quite an unusual color for a Niva, but still, why not paint it this kind of green metallic? It should turn out interesting. After painting the Niva, I finished up the car, fixed a couple of small things, installed the wheels, and here's what I managed to do. I think this Niva turned out pretty well. In my opinion, this green color looks really cool on it. It took me 50 hours of work over 5 days to create this model. I wouldn't say it was difficult to make since the Niva doesn't have complex shapes, so I was able to put it together pretty quickly. This isn't a regular Niva, this is the Niva Bronto version. I originally wanted to make the new Niva at this moment and found it in this version and immediately wanted to make it. And the scale of this car turned out to be 1:24. To create this model, I made the body parts very thin, with a thickness of 1 mm and up to 4 mm in the places where the parts are attached, because I made this car for a crash test. And for this, it's preferable to make the body elements thin so that the damage looks more realistic. I also use foil for these parts, pressing it tightly onto the modeling clay for strength and to help the clay keep its shape. I did this for more realistic damage. I made this model according to blueprints and also examined it in the mobile app Forma CAR. This is not detailed enough. Of course, I didn't try too hard to make the shapes exactly like the original since I made the car just to break it. But nevertheless, the detailing here is not lacking. The only thing I missed was the rear window. I made it too low, it should be higher. Now I'll show you the underside of this Niva. I detailed it quite a bit. It has a frame, an exhaust system, front and rear axles, all-wheel drive and so on. I also highlighted all the key interior elements. They're all included. Now let's open the hood and take a look at the engines. Here, of course, it's immediately noticeable that there's no spare wheel. I decided not to make it and just leave it as it is. The wheels on this Niva look really cool and give it an even more aggressive appearance, even though the Niva is an off-roader and can go almost anywhere. But with wheels like these, cruising only on regular roads is possible. Doing that is hardly feasible on these wheels. Off-road driving is not recommended in this area.
But I only drove on roads.
That's us.
We'll fix it now. Everyone around was driving at 200 kilometers per hour. Sol, slew. Oh, I'm out of breath.
I think this Niva belongs to these off-road vehicles. I made the wheels here fully functional, they can rotate. And they, of course, are also made of plasticine. Well then, let's move on to the most interesting part, the crash test. How exactly will it be conducted? Everything is quite simple. I will accelerate this car using the remote control with a special battering ram. The car will accelerate along the designated track, and at the end of the path, it will crash into this Niva. And it should turn out something like this. Well, listen, it turned out pretty good. The hit wasn't at the highest speed, but still, it bent quite a lot. The impact landed more on the left side. And because the car was fixed in place by a block, the rear part also got bent, and the rear axle was torn out as well. The fender, door, and rear part specifically got bent. It looks quite realistic. Of course, it doesn't exactly reflect what would happen in reality, but nevertheless, it turned out to be quite spectacular. The engine here wasn't really damaged. It got squeezed, but not too much. The right side is mostly intact. The rear part wasn't damaged much, except for a small dent on the left side of the bumper. It took the entire impact. Damn, but still these bends, so to speak, turned out pretty well. Now I'll put the wheels back in place and crash into the front part one more time. This hit the Niva just couldn't handle anymore. I placed it diamond-shaped against the car, and it crashed right into the front wheel. That was, so to speak, the Niva's weak spot. And because of this collision, look what happened. The whole car got twisted, as if a truck or a train had hit it. The entire car is totaled. It's just a really flimsy car, it turns out. Or maybe they're not really like that in real life. And here's how it looks from above. Now I'll try to make it look a bit more intact and crash into the rear part. And this is what the underside looks like. After all these collisions, the rear drive shaft disappeared somewhere. Apparently during one of the impacts, it just got ripped out. And of course, everything here is completely bent out of shape. The Niva is totally wrecked. I'm attempting to lift it, but it's disintegrating. The frame isn't supporting it anymore. I can't even lift it correctly. Well, you can see what condition it's in right now. And part of the interior isn't holding together anymore either. I just picked it up and it's already falling apart. Different parts are coming off. The interior is tearing away from the front section. You could consider it just a pile of modeling clay, a wreck. Yeah, 3 collisions were enough to break it up this badly, and here's the rear part which took the last impact. Well, that's it. It's already completely falling apart. So, this is what's left of this Niva. Now that the Niva is wrecked, I'll show you the process of sculpting this car. Well, that's all. I hope you enjoyed this video, how I sculpted the Niva and then wrecked it. Support this video with a like and also subscribe to the channel if you're here for the first time and you're interested in my clay creations. Thank you all for watching. Goodbye everyone.